We departed Lyndhurst with much excitement as we were about to commence the famed Oodnadatta track. Heading north to the famous Marree, we stopped not far out of Lyndhurst at the Ochre Pits, a landscape painted with rich reds and yellows. The Ochre Pits were said to be a trading and meeting point for local Aboriginals. They are worth the stop if you are travelling through the area. Farina was our next stop on the way to the Oodnadatta track. This town was settled by farmers hoping to grow wheat and barley, but due to the lack of rain, this did not eventuate. Farina for a time was a railhead until the rail was extended to Marree. All that is left now are some stone ruins of buildings strewn across the landscape, a testament to a well-built structures of the day. Some of these buildings are being restored, including the old bakery which bakes bread and is made available during the tourist season. After exploring the ruins of Farina, we ventured north to Marree for a quick look around town and some lunch at the beautiful and historic Marree Hotel. It is definitely worth spending the time looking around Marree and immersing yourself in the rich history the place has to offer, but you will certainly want to put aside a bit of time to explore. Once we had taken in our fill of Marree, it was time to hit the Oodnadatta track. The track, like most of the roads we have travelled, was in great condition. Being Gibberop country, we still needed to pay attention, particularly with oncoming traffic. This track has remnants of its past strewn across its entire length, with old rail sidings and water tanks frequently marking the landscape. The Oodnadatta track closely follows the route of the old Ghan rail. It is an unsealed road some 600 kilometres long with various small towns along the way that have fuel, food and water available. First stop on the track was Mutonia Sculpture Park, about 30 kilometres from Marree. You will not miss these monstrous pieces of art, and they are well worth stopping and taking a look.
This is Lake Eyre, the southern part.
Not too far on was the entrance to the Lake Eyre South viewing point, where you could get your first glimpse of the famous Salt Lake. We didn't stop here for too long, as the flies decided we were tasty and quickly pushed us back into the car and along the track again. As sunset was approaching, we arrived at the Kadabu Mound Springs. This place rated very high on the list of the most incredible things we saw on the track. It was a green patch of life in an otherwise arid countryside. We walked up to the bubbler, which is the main spring, and watched the sunset there in such an amazing display that only the Outback could show. I would definitely recommend taking the time to experience it. With the sun now all but set, we left the Mound Springs and headed for camp, which was a gravel pit not far up the track, but a good distance off the road that you weren't affected by traffic. The next morning, after packing up camp, we set off. But not before a quick stop at Coward Springs. It was an old railway station where a bore was sunk and is now flowing freely onto wetlands. The water is warm and the owners have built a hot tub where you can go for a dip. Aside from the springs, the owners have restored some of the old residences there, and they're really worth taking the time to go and see. They are a wonderful piece of history. Heligan Bay and Lake was next on our agenda. We had high hopes that we might actually see the lake with water in it. After a good 70 kilometres of corrugated road, we arrived at our destination to see endless white salt plains of Lake Eyre. There was no water to be seen, but the views were spectacular nonetheless. The water was only 3 kilometres away from the beach at Heligan Bay. From Lake Eyre, it was onto the famous William Creek for a cold drink at the hotel. After refreshments, we continued our way along the track and found a nice free camp at Box Creek. The next morning we left early and made our way to the old Algebakina rail bridge. This bridge was the longest bridge in South Australia in its time and spans for over half a kilometre. An impressive sight to behold and one that's unexpected in such flat country. famous Oodnadatta township was our next destination, where we stopped for fuel and lunch at the iconic Pink Roadhouse. It was here we learnt the recent rains flooded the road up to Dalhousie Springs, forcing us to change the course and head for Marla instead.
So whereabouts are we now?
We're just northeast of Oodnadatta.
Untitled, and we've had to take a detour because, as you can see outside, there are patches of water everywhere. Apparently a storm hit where?
Last night they got a bucket load of rain north of Oodnadatta, and it's flooded from Dalhousie all the way to Alice Springs apparently. So we had to go around. Our initial plan was to go up to Dalhousie through Mount Dare and onto Fink, but we're going to go around onto the Sturt Highway, unfortunately.
And he looks so sad.
Devastating.
He's so sad. You should have seen the little wave. It was so sad. So yeah, it's pretty interesting because you wouldn't think that there'd be enough rain to sort of hamper our plans after one storm, but there's little patches of water everywhere and it turns to really slippery mud very, very quickly.
Apart from the small amount of water on the road, we travelled the remainder of the track without incident and camped in a bush camp a few kilometres out of Marla